Hello, this is Arthur again, and today I have this 2019 Mercedes GLC63 S Edition 1 with 59,000 miles. It's a very beautiful car. I've worked on it one time before, just like servicing and stuff, and this time when it came, it had an issue with the suspension. It wouldn't raise. It ended up being the pump that was bad. I replaced the pump. A couple of weeks prior to bringing it, the owner did complain to me that it had a check engine light, and I think it was misfiring. Not sure what was going on. We never got a chance to check it, but as the car sat here for a couple of days while I addressed the pump, I started it and I did drive it. It drove okay, but it wasn't very smooth. And then as it was idling, I can feel that it had a lot of misfire, especially on a lower RPM. And a check engine light was on, and I did notify him, and then we decided to check what's going on. And it took me for quite a ride before I figured out finally what is going on with it. All right, let me show you. So when I scanned the car, I got a few codes out of it. P008792, which is fuel pressure code, and as well as I was getting misfire codes on bank 1, which is on this side, passenger side, on cylinder 2 mainly, but also some on cylinder 1, and occasionally it would throw some misfire on 3 and 4, and the car would idle very poorly. So by going what I was seeing, basically it seemed like to me it's a fueling issue, and just because it's on one bank only, I automatically thought it's a high pressure pump. But you know, the high pressure pump for this car, it can be around $1,000 just for the part, and you know, I didn't want to replace just the part. So luckily, what on this car, left and right pumps are the same, and I pulled the pump from this side, which is located right here. Here's the pump, and I swapped it with the bank tool, and to my surprise, nothing changed. Next, what I did, I replaced the pressure sensor, which is on a fuel rail. It is this sensor, and it is also identical left and right, and that didn't change anything as well. Then I started thinking, okay, maybe there's a couple of things going on. Maybe there's a fuel pressure issue and there is ignition issue or something like that, since the only codes I'm getting was the cylinder 2 and 1 really, like the 3 and 4 were very minor fault counters. So I said, let me swap plugs and coils with another side cylinder that doesn't get any misfire, just to make sure I eliminate that as well, or see if there's an issue with that. And I swapped ignition coils from this side to the other side. The ignition coils on this engine is kind of joint ignition coil. 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 are together. So I was thinking, if there is an issue in this unit, that might be why I'm getting both 1 and 2 misfire. But actually they didn't do anything. Nothing changed from there. The spark plugs did look terrible, very rusty, and you know, like they need to be replaced, but they were actually working. So the next thing I decided to do was look at the low pressure side fuel system, as you know, the code was mainly for low pressure in the fueling system, and I knew if the low pressure fuel pump is bad, I would get misfire typically on both sides. However, you never know, maybe the way the rail is, you don't get enough fuel on this side. By the time it reaches, it's enough fuel on the driver's side, and on this side you don't get it. So I decided to replace the low pressure fuel pump, and on this car it's kind of easier to replace. You have access from under the seat. You don't have to drop the tank like on a lot of modern Mercedes. And the pump was actually pretty cheap, the original one. So I replaced that, and nothing changed again. I was almost trying to throwing a towel. You know, I was like, oh man, I don't know what's going on. And I looked down the cylinder with the borescope camera, and honestly, to me, it looked like there might be some scoring, but it's kind of hard to see with the camera because it's not super accurate, and you got to sit and remove the head and feel it with your hand, see if it's actually going on. And I did notice there was some oil sitting on the bottom of the cylinder, so I thought maybe there's a ring issue. That's why it's not firing. There's oil coming through, and it's just not firing because of that. But since I did have that fuel code still, I decided not to make a final conclusion that that's the issue. I decided to start pulling the direct injection, the injectors from this side, and let me show you. Here's the fuel rail I pulled and 4 injectors. What I did is I swapped injectors from number 2 to number 3 and 3 to 2, just because I knew that 3 is working for sure, even though there is some codes coming up, but they're not as much codes as it is on the 2. And I put it back together where I could just start the engine to see if anything changes, and actually the fault followed to cylinder 3, meaning that the injector is actually the problem. So, and just by looking at the injectors, the condition of the tip, it looks pretty horrible. I know this kind of engines typically will have issue with injectors, but 59,000 miles, I think it's kind of early, but either way. So this car is gonna get all new injectors, 8 of them, 8 spark plugs, and we're gonna put it back together, and it should be running like it should. One thing to note is to get these out, you know, this rail sits on top of this. If you pull this back and the injectors are still in the rail, you can't physically remove it from the engine because of the firewall. So what you have to do is you have to pop these injectors out from here, remove this rail, then you can actually remove the injectors one by one. They are pretty tight in here, so I did spray some PV blaster on them, and I did kind of have to press them out with a little force, but I'm putting new ones anyway, so I don't really care about these. And I'm just waiting to get new parts, and I should be putting everything back together. Now, as far as what you need to remove over here to get to it, you have to remove the airbox, disconnect the connectors, high pressure pump. There is a PCV line, this one, that you have to unhook with a long pick tool. You can unhook it from the intake manifold, and as well as on the back of the engine, you have to unscrew, pop it out to give you enough room to move this around. You have to remove the fuel rails. This is probably like the tightest part. There is a lot of bolts over here. They hold the fuel rail down, and they are very tight to the firewall, so you have to kind of work your way around it to remove them. It's not too difficult, but it's pretty time consuming because there's a lot of little stuff that you have to remove and make sure you're not breaking and not dropping anything, not losing anything. So I'm going to do this side first. I'm going to start the car, make sure everything runs good, and then I'll do the other side as well. Okay, so here are all new 8 injectors and 8 spark plugs. You can tell the difference is kind of big. These are all rusty. I'm not sure if this engine was like washed with water all the time or something like that, but there's a lot of corrosion on items like this, which shouldn't really be there. Anyway, so I'm gonna put one side all in. I'll start the car, confirm everything's okay, and then I'll replace the other side as well. Okay, most of the things on this side are on, the injectors, spark plugs. I already put in all the lines, connected them, tightened them. So I just need to put the airbox on, connect the sensor on top, and then I should be able to start it up. Okay, everything is connected on the passenger side. Going to start it up. I'm expecting some misfire in the beginning until it clears. Some air comes out. Okay, it took a couple seconds to start. Definitely runs smoother. Before it was pretty much at this point already will start shaking. No smoke either. Oh yeah. Okay. So I got the driver's side, everything out as well. This side is a little bit different. The routing of the fuel rails is quite different on this one. It's kind of tight, but you just have to go for it and remove all these bolts that hold all these lines enough for you to be able to slip stuff out of there. Let me show you the injectors on this side. So these are the driver's side spark plugs. One is pretty dark, the other ones look even. Again, a lot of corrosion. Injectors are pretty cooked up as well, not as bad as the other side. I don't think they've been replaced before, but the other side I think has been having some kind of issues compared to this side, but unless they were replaced before, but I don't think so. I don't see any dates on them to see if they were replaced or not. I would say they look about the same. Either way, I'm going to put the new ones on and start it up one more time. Okay, this side everything has been replaced as well. Now make sure you put these covers back on and connect all the connectors. I have this one left for the airbox connection, and then I can start it again and make sure there are no codes. Okay, everything's back on. I'm going to start it one more time. Okay, I do have the engine idling, and this is the fault counter going, and everything looks good. Alright, I'll say that's fixed. Alright, that's about it for this video. Sorry this video wasn't in too detail at how to replace things, but if you have a Mercedes with the M177 engine, this should be helpful to you if you have a code like this and a running condition as this car did. So hopefully it is helpful. If you like the video, please comment, like and subscribe. There are more videos to come. Thank you.